In episode 1 of House of Cards, we experience many different things that foreshadow later episodes. We learn things about the characters that play a factor in later shows. In the first scene of episode 1, when Frank finds the dog in the street, we see that he has a sweet side to him, but at the same time, when he kills the dog, we also see that he is not afraid to do cruel things. We see that Frank is a multi-sided individual. The whole series is based on when Frank does not get elected Secretary of State. As you can see in the photo, he is very angry and doesn't agree with the decision. Then, later in the scene, we see that Frank has the ability to play both sides and trick people when he agrees with Vasquez and says that that is a great decision. In this picture, Frank reveals his plan to take out Karen first and says it's a shame because he didn't choose to be put on my platter. As we see in later episodes, this is a key scene to setting the tone of the show. Frank then explains that he is taking it one bite at a time, which is a hint that maybe he has a plan to take out more people down after Karen. When Frank and Claire are in the car together, Claire tells Frank he needs a haircut. We get our first glimpse of her power and how she controls Frank. Also, this image shows that Frank and Claire are on the same team as they are both wearing black and look in uniform. In this picture, we get our first glimpse of Claire outside of Frank. We learn about her business and how it ties into later episodes. We see that she is very controlling over the lady like she is with Frank, and that there might be something fishy going on with the business. When Frank comes home late, we see Claire is very mad and confronts Frank about it. She lets us know that she doesn't put up with much, and we see Frank apologize to her. That shows she really controls him, and he feels bad and listens to her. This picture is one that comes up a lot in later episodes. We see that even through all the ups and downs Frank and Claire go through, that they are still together and on the same mission. Take note of how they are both in white. It is another example of them being on the same team or wearing the same uniforms. They often come back to this scene in the window smoking a cigarette in times of need. The next character we learn about is Zoe. When we are first introduced to her, we see that her boss doesn't even know her name. But we experience her stubbornness and drive to be important when it bothers her that her boss doesn't know her name. When Frank is caught on camera looking at Zoe, we can suspect that this might come up in the show again and be a key factor later on. As we can see in this picture, Zoe has used this image to gain leverage over Frank, and she becomes an important character in the show. Once Zoe gets in with Frank, we see her work ethic and her strive to become big. We get a sense that there are more things to come, and that she is going to play a larger role in the show going forward. As we see in this picture, she is desperately working to get the next big story. As we can see, a lot of things happen in episode 1, and we learn a lot that we need to know about the characters. We learn about Frank and his stubbornness, Claire and how he controls Frank, and that Zoe in episode 1 becomes an evident character in the show.